So after you do the warm up, I mean, this is what I mean by warm up. I don't want this to be confused with your real, like vocal warm up, but
Yeah.
warm up meaning just coming into class. Let's just call it get started.
Okay.
You come in, they get themselves situated in their seats, volume off. You bring the entire focus up to the board. And you have, you tell them today's do now is, you'll look on the screen is the following questions. And you can give them the reason why the do now is relevant for today's lesson. Give them some context of why we're doing this do now. And then have them begin. And then you set your timer.
Okay.
Okay, at that point, I think you're in the right direction. I think you know that needs to be a set amount of time. You made some real connections throughout your entire lesson. I'll go over those in my notes in just a second, but you made some real connections to every aspect of your lesson the day before yesterday, and I was real excited to see that, because again, when students begin to see relevance in everything that they're doing, then there'll be more buy-in, then there'll be less classroom management issues. So I think you're definitely in the right direction there. Now you did a quick review of the key signature. And I wonder if you can connect that theory moment to the do now, like all that be connected at one time.
So they do it all together. Okay.
Yeah.
And I could, and I think the overall goal was for it to be that way, but it didn't really pan out that way.
Okay.
In practice.
Okay, because do you think they needed 10 minutes for that actual do now, the questions on the board for do now?
No, I think I just, without thinking, put in the time to get situated and do the questions.
You build in
I
that
need
time.
to just switch it. I mean, I need to split it up and do, okay, you've got 4 minutes, get in your seats, get your notebooks out, and get quiet when the timer goes off. It's time to start. Okay, here's why we're doing the do now, here's what's relevant, and then start the timer again for maybe, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Megan, I really do.
Because I think I just put in, 10 minutes, they'll get situated, they'll sit down, and then have time to work.
And did you notice in the data anything that indicated that 10 minutes was lengthy? What began to happen during that 10-minute frame of time towards the end?
Yeah, the off-task behavior was coming back by that point.
Right.
We're talking personal conversations.
Yeah, the sidebar conversations and such. Yeah. So there's the evidence that I think we can tighten all that up, and we can incorporate your do now startup questions, and then we can also incorporate some of the theory that you want to cover with them that particular day, which is day before yesterday was the key signature, reviewing that key signature. So I had that in mind, and so that sounds great. So once the do now is over and you ask the class, from the notes you can see there that you ask the class to respond to the questions on the board. The first time you asked a whole group and you really didn't get a response much from the group, but the second time you called on a student and you got that feedback you needed immediately. So I think you need to continue that. I think you always call on a student to answer for you instead of kind of asking the question to a whole group, especially with the dynamic of the group right now. Call on students and call on different students.
Okay.
So use that question and answer approach whenever you're asking those questions up front.
Okay.
And lastly, I wonder, I wanted to ask, do you ever collect the do now activities?
Do now, I'll do a notebook. I'll check their notebooks, and usually I'll tell them, okay, bring in your do now activities with the dates, and it's just agreed for whether they have the whole notebook. Is how I've done it in the past.
Okay. How successful have your students been in getting that to you, and their grades are great? I mean, you're finding that they're effective, efficient.
It's probably about 50-50 because
Okay.
some of them, you know, it's just they you know they know what to do. It's habit. Okay, we're in class. Let's go. Let's do what we need to do. And then some of them, oh, I'm in chorus class. You know, I'm
Right.
just gonna sit here and talk and I'm not gonna write anything.
Mhm.
I'll just sing because you know that's their mindset. Oh, it's chorus. We're gonna sing. But I like the structure of doing more. I like doing the do now. I like doing the theory and the
Right.
writing.
Right. So I wonder what your thoughts on having the do now questions on a half sheet of paper already prepared for the students, with perhaps some of the theory that you're going to introduce, like the review of the key signature, and you hand them the half slip
Mhm.
to respond on the half slip. Not pull out a notebook, find a blank page, respond on the half slip of paper. It can be even be a quarter slip of paper.
Mhm.
And then they give you, you know, you have some, you talk around what they write down, and then you collect them. Or have a basket, an outgoing basket set up in the class, and have a student leader collect them and put them in the basket. You paper clip it together, it's all together, because what are your feelings on only about 50% of your class not participating in the do now?
I mean, it's disappointing to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been really frustrated
Yeah.
since the beginning of the year with the high school chorus class, more so than the middle school, just because I think just structure-wise and
Right.
you know, I take it seriously naturally.
Absolutely.
And
you've
you know, I
you've
need
done
to
a lot of
find a
hard
way
work.
to bring them into my way of thinking.
Right.
You know, as many of them as I can. 'Cause some,
Right.
you know, sometimes you can't, but.
Yeah, and really, if you're getting about 50% participation, and that's going down as a grade, as a teacher, we need to begin to reflect on, okay, so what can I do as the adult in the room? Because 50% is not satisfactory at all,
Yeah.
okay? So what can I do to change that? So I wonder if using a little pre-made half slip, quarter slip of paper with the do now questions on it, or, you know, so that they can respond on paper and then turn it into an outgoing basket. And then you can give them a little quick feedback on it, you know, at night. Just give them some feedback on it, you know. And then you've got evidence, clear evidence of their student participation.
Yeah, and that's more of a more formal way of doing it. And then when they see that participation grade, because it's 50% of their grade, and then they ask me, why is their grade so low? And,
Oh, yeah.
well, participation includes coming in and doing this do now, and
I
look
got
at the
you.
evidence of here's what I've collected from you. I mean, physically, here's what I have, and then that's more evidence than just participation. You know, a lot of times you're off task in class. That doesn't mean much to them.
I
So
see.
having it written down like that would be okay. Here's the evidence. This hard evidence. And then my say so, because of course if you ask them, oh, I was singing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or I had my notebook and somebody took it, or, you know.
I
it's
lost
like
it, or yeah.
You start that moment of time with that slip of paper,
Yeah.
and you close that moment of time so
Yeah.
that everybody is held accountable for that. Because
Yeah.
your do now is very important to you. And you shouldn't abandon the do now activity, because it's important that they have that balance throughout the class and that they're learning that music theory. And if it's important to you, it's important that you start it with integrity and you end it with integrity. And that's one way we can do that.